Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. For today's video I have something very special for you prepared. Which and what GPUs or graphics cards are the best suited for your engineering applications such as CAD, CAE and deep learning and machine learning. So stay tuned if you want to learn more. So for today's video we're going to speak about graphics cards, GPUs and how they affect your engineering applications. In my experience as an engineer, I had the opportunity, I will say, that to work a lot with such a different field of engineering applications such as SolidWorks, for example, for 3D and 2D modeling, such as CATIA for 3D modeling as well, Siemens Unigraphics as well, ANSYS for FEM simulations, Abacus from Dassault Systems as well for FEM simulations, with Altair, the software from Altair like Hypermesh, Hypercrash, and Inventor from Autodesk, Maya, even as well Revit. And I had the opportunity to work with all these amazing softwares through the years. Maybe I'm not an expert in every of those, but my interest as well is always the computer science and the computer that is in background of these applications, how they work. And I had the opportunity, as I say, to work very deep in some of them. And for today's video, I have prepared something that it took me, to be honest, years to prepare, because it's not always about this graphic card is better for SolidWorks, this graphics card is better for gaming, or this graphics card is better for machine learning and deep learning. It's about, if you have the experience, it's about to share with others the experience that you had with such applications. Maybe I cannot cover all the range of applications that you are looking for, but a lot, I will say, for engineers, LabVIEW as well, MATLAB, OpenFOAM, for example, Python programming, CUDA programming. So I had experience, I have quite the experience in engineering applications, and this is a huge topic. Is Jorge or people, which graphics cards or what graphics card should I get if I want to do CAD 3D modeling, if I want to do engineering simulations, which graphics card should I get if I want to do image processing, what kind of graphics card do I need to buy if I want to do gaming as well, but I have as well work to do, and in my free time I do play games, but I work from 9 to 5 doing 3D modeling. And there's always this question, this huge debate and question, which kind of graphics card should you get for your workstation? Why this is important nowadays than ever? Because with the market, as we already spoke in my latest video, how it is the availability of graphics cards and hardware, it is very important to get really to know which kind of graphics cards can get you the best performance and out of the application that you are willing to you wanted to use, and not to spend money in some things that probably at the end are not going to give you the best return of investment. So for today's video, we're going to focus in three main topics for engineering applications: CAD modeling, engineering simulations, FEM, I will say, and machine learning and deep learning. So as you see here, I prepared for you something very special. I am really excited to share this as well with you, because I love to play games as well. I love computers, and through the years I never had the opportunity to really buy the things that I really needed, because of money, because of availability, because usually the problem for normal people is the money. If you don't work for a company, you usually cannot spend more money that you have. But for today, gladly, I have now the opportunity to bring to you some of the most amazing graphics card that I really search and look for it since years. Why? And because I'm going to tell you in this video why. So in the first channel here we have the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070. This is one of the latest generations of NVIDIA RTX. This graphics card for today, in order to get one of these today, is quite such an adventure, because they are not available almost anywhere, and if you can get them, they are very expensive. So I had the opportunity to got my hands in some of them before everything started, because I wanted to do some machine learning project, which now is finished. And then in the second place, I have one of the most famous graphics card for me, and I am really excited to even have it in my hands, because when I was younger, I looked for this Quadro K6000 as something that I could never reach, to be honest, because they were amazingly expensive and the performance was such great, and this was for me just something that I could never get my hands on. And now I have it, and to be honest, this is for me even more exciting than the newest generation of GeForce RTX. This for me is one of my favorites graphics cards, and I will tell you later why. So in the third place, I have something very special as well for you. This is one NVIDIA Tesla K40. This is from the Tesla series. Nowadays, they are still running the Tesla series. And this is the Tesla K40, which is as well from the Kepler generation, the same as the Quadro K6000. Actually, the Quadro K6000 and this Tesla K40 are exactly the same, can I say? They have the same chip, and they have the same amount of CUDA cores. They have the same amount of memory. They both are supported by ECC memory as well, error correcting code memory. But this has, as you can see, this has no video outputs, this has video outputs, and this is made especially only for computational purposes. But we are going to talk about NVIDIA Teslas today and how they can have an influence in your engineering applications. And then in the fourth place, I have one AMD from the red side. I have the AMD Radeon 5700. This is from the latest generation of AMD Radeon. This is the 5700 XT. And I really like this graphics card, to be honest. It's very powerful for gaming, and it has a lot of different features as well that can put AMD cards as well in, not because they are good only for gaming, because they can offer kind of a very good mix in between both worlds of professional graphic cards and computational graphics cards and gaming graphics cards. So this is very interesting as well for us today. But let's start with the I'm gonna try to cover how each graphics card and its different type, like for example, these are made for gaming, these are made for professionals, these are made for data centers and computational services, and the Radeons are made as well for gaming. I'm gonna try to cover why they are made for those purposes, and how they can even affect your engineering applications. So let's start with 3D modeling applications. In my experience, I have worked very intensively with SolidWorks, with CATIA, with Siemens Unigraphics, and those are my three main CAD applications that I can say that I have professional experience in a very good level, I would say. And it's not because I want to tell you this, is because I can share with you real experiences and not kind of benchmarks or something that a friend told me or something that the IT department told me. It's something that really comes from someone that work on this kind of software. I've been with SolidWorks, I think, since 2012, maybe the version of SolidWorks since 2012. CATIA since I think the version 17. CATIA B5 release 17. And from Siemens Unigraphics, I think since the version 9. So I have quite the experience. So how this graphics card can affect and influence your productivity flow, your workflow, your how do you do your job, or how can do you your job? So let's start with the gaming graphics cards. Let's start talking about the professional graphics cards that are made for professional applications. Back in the days, maybe like 5-6 years ago, it was like if you want to use 3D modeling software, you get a Quadro graphics card, an NVIDIA Quadro, and it was this cliche of Quadro graphics cards are not made for gaming. You cannot game in a Quadro graphics card, which it was not kind of wrong, but it was not. It was not correct, but it was also not wrong. Before, the graphics card used to have a bigger difference in drivers and software optimizations in order to deliver a very different performance depending on the application that you were using. And nowadays, this difference of features are very small, and the gap is very short now, that you can get almost the same performance for almost every application using any of these CADs, only not the Tesla. This is a different history. But yeah, before was this cliche of if you want to get professional work done, you get an NVIDIA Quadro. And I will say it's not about performance, it's about the features that each of these graphics cards offer you for any application that you are using. Let's start, for example, with SolidWorks. SolidWorks compatibility hardware, official compatible hardware, are only listed the NVIDIA Quadro graphics cards and the NVIDIA FirePro and the Radeon Pro nowadays. And why this professional software is certified for the use of NVIDIA Quadro graphics cards? The thing is, like, if you work in a company, if you are a professional, and we need to define professional in another video. If you are like a professional and you work in a corporation's environment in a company, usually you need to get the most reliable tools to get your work done. There is no, they cannot be downtimes because of a graphics card got broken or it's not working properly, or you cannot start your computer because the drivers are not compatible with the following update of Windows, or I don't know what. So in companies, you need reliability. For every job that you do, you need to have the right tool for the right job. And this was kind of the motto, I will say, of the NVIDIA Quadro graphics cards and the FirePro and Radeon Pro, that if you are a company and if you are selling or if you are using software that costs thousands and thousands of euros, you need to have the hardware that is 100% compatible and it will never let you down, such as the professional graphics card from NVIDIA and from AMD. And so, for example, SolidWorks only accepts officially NVIDIA Quadros and Radeon graphics card FirePro, but you can use any other graphics card. Any other graphics card is going to work, and it's going to work very good, to be honest. But this kind of features as drivers, optimizations for the software, ESB certifications, and those are going to be given only for professional graphics cards with your software, which includes SolidWorks, Siemens Unigraphics, CATIA. Inventor is going to work with almost every graphics card as well, but they have as well only certifications for professional graphics cards. And this is because the companies work together, the software providers, the software developers, they work together with the graphics cards companies, and they work to make the best out of both software and hardware. And they make sure that the software that they are producing, like the sound systems, for example, and the hardware that they are producing, they match perfectly, and they are going to give you the best performance, the best reliability out of your money. Because software such as SolidWorks, or for example FEM simulations, they are not cheap. They are very expensive. They can be very expensive. Maybe a license, an enterprise license of SolidWorks, it can go up to maybe $100,000 per year, and you are spending money, and you need to have the most reliable tools in order to really have this return of investments. So they work together on this, and they produce this kind of certifications that only this professional software is really compatible with these professional graphics cards, because they test everything. They made all the tests that you cannot imagine, like not only software test, they put the graphics card Quadro, for example, in really extreme conditions. They move them around. I had the opportunity to see how they test these graphics cards, and believe me, it is amazing how they test the graphics cards, and at the end they provide you the best. They will support you if you have any problem in your software and in your hardware. The NVIDIA enterprise, like if you have a problem, they are going to support you 100%. So At least this is the history because of NVIDIA Quadros and FirePros. It's not about you cannot do something with the gaming graphics cards. Of course you can do it, and maybe you can do it performance-wise better, but they cannot assure you if you are using a gaming graphics card with SolidWorks, for example, with CATIA, if you have a problem, if you cannot open a model, or if you import a step file, or if you import cloud points that are huge, or maybe the memory is not enough of the graphics card, they cannot assure you because they do not support them officially that is going to work, and this kind of uncertainty is the one that you cannot accept if you are working in an enterprise level. That's why they have this kind of professional graphics cards lines in order to support 100% the professional environments. So let's talk about now which graphics card should you get if you are only working, or if your main application is CAD. So if you only work with 3D models, and if you only work with CAD software, if you are not a gamer, or if your purpose is not to game in your workstation, in your computer, then I can really recommend you to get NVIDIA Quadro graphics cards. NVIDIA Quadro graphics cards allow you a different set of features, not performance, as I said, but features and reliability, and drivers reliability, driver certifications, and support if from software to hardware, as I said. If you are only doing CAD, for example, if you are an engineer in a company that has a normal job, a fixed schedule, and you have your workstation from 9 to 5, and that's the only thing that you do, and you love to do that, and that's your main workstation, that's your main tool, you need Quadro graphics cards. Like, if you can afford them, because that's another thing, the price, I can really recommend you an NVIDIA Quadro graphics card. For example, if you are using SolidWorks, now there is a lot of students that use SolidWorks. Almost every student has access to SolidWorks academic versions, to ANSYS students, to Abacus students, to almost every professional applications has Autodesk. For example, Autodesk student is amazing. I cannot tell you, if your university is registered by Autodesk, you have all the software packages for free if you're a student. So if you are doing only CAD modeling, I can really recommend you a Quadro graphics card. I never had problems with Quadro graphics card, and even if you are using like an old Quadro graphics card, like the Quadro K6000, the Quadro K5000, the Quadro K5200, or the Quadro M4000, that they are very cheap now. They are getting very, very cheap. I mean, to be honest, this Quadro K6000 is more expensive than the Quadro M5000, or I think this graphics card is even more expensive than the Quadro M6000. This Quadro K6000 is like gold. It's like a real treasure for because it performs very well, and I can really recommend you to get an NVIDIA Quadro graphics card if you are not gaming, if your purpose is not to do other things. Because then you say, Jorge, but Quadros are as well good for gaming. Yeah, they are as well good for gaming. But if you really want to game, then your money is not going to be really good invested in a Quadro graphics card. Only if you can really afford a very good Quadro graphics card, and you are as well spending money in something that is not going to give you the best performance for games. That's what I mean. It's not. I know that Quadro are good for games. I do play games with Quadros, and I use almost every model of NVIDIA Quadro you can imagine. The Quadro K600. My first Quadro graphics card was the NVIDIA Quadro FX 2700 in a Dell Precision M6400. That was my first NVIDIA Quadro with 412 megabytes of DDR3 memory, and I was amazed. Since my first time that I use an NVIDIA Quadro for professional application. In that time, my software was SolidWorks as I was a student. Since I use SolidWorks with an NVIDIA Quadro, I fell in love with NVIDIA Quadros. And I know that, and that was like 12 to 13 years ago. And I can tell you really by my experience, they are amazing for CAD applications. Even if they are old, they are amazing. And if you are going to say, Jorge, but I have huge models. I have like, I don't know, a complete, I don't know, like an assembly in SolidWorks. Believe me, when I used to work in a company in those days, I saw engineers, amazing engineers, working with thousands of parts of components in one assembly with a very old NVIDIA Quadro 2000, not the K2000, not the newest Keplers, otherwise the older Quadros, and they never had problems. Like they even used to put an assembly and then another assembly and then another assembly, and then they compare all the assemblies in one viewport with an NVIDIA Quadro 2000. So it's not about the fastest, it's about this reliability. And I saw sometimes that they push to the max those NVIDIA Quadros in those days. And then, okay, if you push really to the max your graphics card, then you get a better graphics card. But it's not about, if you want to model some components, or if you are a hobbyist, or if you are a student that you want to 3D print something, and you have a 3D printer as a hobby, which I really love 3D printing, it's not about the best graphics card or the best Quadro. It's about even a very old graphics card is going to do an amazing job with SolidWorks or with Inventor. So I can really recommend you for 3D CAD applications NVIDIA Quadros. They are amazing. And for example, if you are using SolidWorks, they have a different features that they just make the models to look amazing. But if you use graphics cards, gaming graphics cards, it's not bad. The performance is going to be almost the same. It's about, as I say, these features, these certifications. If you have any kind of problem, probably you will not have, but if you have, then it's about, okay, no one is going to really professionally help you because it is not the certified hardware. It's not that is going to break your computer. It's just going to, in order to get support, they not assure you 100% if it is going to work or if you're going to have problems. But for CAD modeling, if you can afford a Quadro, if you're only doing CAD modeling, I can really recommend you an NVIDIA Quadro graphics cards. Amazing technology. I can tell you. If you're a gamer and you do as well job, or if you are a professional but you like to play games, there is option. You spend a lot of money in getting one of the newest NVIDIA Quadro graphics cards, which they are very expensive, and you can play games as well very well. Or you get a gaming graphics card, which is going to perform amazing in games, and is going to perform as well very good in CAD modeling, but without the features, the professional features and certifications of drivers that the professional Quadro graphics cards offer you. That's the thing. If you really want to play games, like AAA games, like, I don't know, the newest NVIDIA, the newest Assassin's Creed Valhalla, in 4K, 144 Hz, you need to get an RTX 6000, you need to get an RTX 8000 from a Quadro, and those are like 3,000, 5,000 euros, which if you put in perspective, you can get one of these for 1,000 euros, and then you have better performance in games, and as well very good performance in CAD. So if you want to play games, I can really tell you, go for GeForces. My experience, I do play games a lot, and I do make a lot of work with CAD and everything. That's why I have a lot, because I need choices, no? But if you are only doing CAD work, like, or if you are an architect, if you do render with Blender, if you do renders with Revit, if you do use Maya, if you are really only in the software, in the CAD software, in the modeling software, then if you can afford an old graphics card, it's going to be amazing, and it's going to give you a very good performance. So let's talk now about engineering simulations, most specific finite element simulations and CAE applications. Software in order to do these things is usually there is not that many open source or free software to do engineering simulations, at least not in a competitive level, I will say. There is the main companies for this, and the most commercial, I will say, they are Dassault Systems, they are ANSYS. Dassault System is because of Abacus, ANSYS, and Altair. Altair with the package of Hypermesh, Hypercrash, and as well, from Dassault System is the package of Simulia. From ANSYS is the ANSYS suite, the ANSYS packages. From Siemens, they have Siemens. They have as well the simulation suite. I don't remember the name exactly. Delmia. I think it was from CATIA. Yeah, it's as well a simulation suite which includes the plant simulations, process simulate, FEM in Unigraphics, Nastran in NX, and this suite is from Siemens. And then Altair with the whole packages of Hyper software. Those are the usually most commercial software that I will say that almost every people will use in the academy and in the industry. In the industry as well, to point this, in the industries, as my experience until now it's getting better, but before it was like, okay, this is the industry, like production industry, and it's like 50% they use Dassault Systems for 3D modeling and for simulations, like CATIA, and 50% use Siemens Unigraphics. Now it's getting better. Now SolidWorks now is getting very powerful as well in the production environments. Now Creo, for example, from PTC is getting very, very popular now as well. And yeah, now it's getting better of variation and choices that you can have in order to make your purchases of CAD and FEM simulation software. So why this? Because FEM software, I'll say, Jorge, why do you need the graphics card for FEM software? It's not always about CPU and processor power. It is not. Since maybe, 10 years ago, it started everything, this revolution of use the graphics processor units as computational resources. And I had the opportunity to work 7 years ago in the Barcelona Supercomputing Center, in which where I learned really a lot about graphical processor units in one of the biggest supercomputers in Spain, in the biggest supercomputer in Spain, and they taught me a lot about graphics card computation, GPU computing. And since 2014, I really making a lot of research in GPU computation, and it's one of my passions as well to know to see how graphics cards are getting so much better for almost every software that you cannot even imagine. And then say, Jorge, okay, but why it is important to have a good graphics card for FEM? Because nowadays, the latest packages of all this software that I just mentioned, they can use now this GPU acceleration in order to accelerate the simulation process, the computational process. And how do they do this? I already explained in one of my latest videos as well. It's like you try to get the work, to parallelize the work into the many cores that each of these graphics cards can give you. And so the main CPU is not doing all the work. It shares the computational load to the graphics cards, and it is amazing the job that they can do. I mean, really, you can accelerate 2, 3, 4 times the computational time of your FEM simulation just by using graphics cards. And it is also very important because usually when you buy simulation software, it is very expensive, and you buy usually licenses or tokens. And when you use, for example, 8 cores to compute simulations, you usually, maybe you use 2 tokens, for example, or 2 licenses. And if you want to double the cores, like for example, if you want to use 16 cores, then you need to double the licenses. But if this is to increase by 2 the solution time. But maybe if you add 1 graphics card, you can increase by 2 the solution time. I mean, you can reduce by 2 the solution time, and you do not spend more licenses because the license is already including the graphics card that you already are using. And this is not only about reducing simulation time, it's also about reducing licensing costs, which it can be really, really expensive. In my experience, for example, for the sound system Abacus, the university pays around 120,000 euros per year. You imagine this? I come from Mexico, and there's no way that even it's not really easy for a Mexican university to spend 120,000 euros per year to get a license. And that's why, it's not to get a license, it's to get a package of licenses. So that's why you take care a lot. You care a lot about the licenses that you are using or the tokens that you are using, because they they cost a lot of money. So if you can reduce the number of licenses that you use, then you can increase the computing power without increasing the licensing. It's a really good job, and that's one of the main job of graphics cards in FEM simulation software, to accelerate the computational process, to decrease simulation time. And you don't need to add more CPUs, because add more CPUs means if you are a normal person, you need maybe a double socket CPU, or you need a very huge server, and maybe you can only add 1 or 2 graphics cards, and license usage is not increased, and you can still compute in the same computer that you have at your desktop, maybe at your work, at the university, or at your home. That's how it works for FEM simulations, and usually you can do a very good job with almost every of these graphics cards. But let's go into the specifics of why they are good for, which one of these are good for FEM simulations and which are not. So FEM simulations are more about, they care more about the precision, the computational power of the graphics card. It's not about the speed or which one is faster, which one can render faster images. It's about the operations that they can handle per second. And this is where maybe you heard already about the new GeForce RTX. It can compute up to 10 teraflops of performance, and you have no idea what is teraflops. And which you don't need to have ideas. It's not really important for you if you're a gamer of something, but teraflops is the operations that they can handle per second. And they are based in, we have categories like single point performance, double point performance, single precision performance, double precision, half precision, quarter precision. And this is about if you are familiarized with float numbers and with a little bit of numbers in computer science, is about the accuracy that you can get from one number and how you can use them to work in the operations. And usually for FEM simulations, the most recommended precision that you can have is the double precision. Double precision is the use of double numbers, in order to get more accurate results instead of when you are using single numbers. And for example, let's talk about computing performance now. It says the GeForce RTX, they have, I think this model has about 8 teraflops, 9 teraflops of single precision computing performance, which is a lot, really a lot. That's why I was excited as well to get this graphics card, because 9 teraflops. I think the RTX 3090 has like 12 teraflops or I don't know, I need to check, but like really insane teraflops performance, single precision. If you put this card to work in double precision performance, this has only like 300 gigaflops, like 0.3 teraflops of double precision performance, which is really nothing. Like 0.3, it's not really that much, to be honest. It's like you cannot really use this to perform double precision operations. It's not going to give you any performance. It's not going to accelerate your computational time in any means. But if you take, for example, the Tesla graphics card, this is from 2020. This Tesla K40, it was I think released in 2013, 2012, 2014. I don't remember exactly the year, but it's old. Like, it's really old. And this guy here can compute like 5 times better than this one in double precision. Which it says, Jorge, but who use this? As I say, if you are an engineer that performs everyday simulations using Abacus, using ANSYS, using the suite of Siemens, they use double precision performance to get the acceleration, accelerate the process. You can use as well single precision performance, but if you are a really professional researcher, you usually compute in double precision to get the best results in order to get a simulation, a good accuracy in a simulation. That's actually the idea of a simulation, to get the most accurate results that differ from the real scenario. So the better the accuracy that you get, the better the results. And this Tesla graphics card has a computational power of 5 teraflops in single precisions and 1.5 teraflops in double precision performance, which is, as I said, like 5 times better than this new one in double precision performance. That's why the Quadros, the Teslas were made back on those days. And to get this kind of performance in computing performance in 2013-14, it was just huge. It was this was a god in those days for computational environments. And that's why the Quadros were made as well. This Quadro, when it released as well in 2013-14, it was the price about 5,000-6,000 euros and US dollars as well. Why this Quadro? Why this Quadro is so important? Because it is the perfect mix in between gaming graphics cards and computing graphics cards. This Quadro offers you as well double precision performance, as well single precision performance. It has video outputs that you can attach your monitors to this, and you can game as well in this. This is one of the graphics card that is still compatible with ANSYS, for example, in the newest releases with Abacus in order to get accelerated the simulations. That's why the Quadro graphics card are still very good, and why this model is very interesting for me is because this model offers you a very good double precision performance, and even the newest Quadro graphics card, the RTX 8000, it does not offer you the same performance in double precision as this one from 6 years old. The RTX 8000 does not offer you the same double precision performance as this. And then for FEM software as well, the Radeon graphics card, they work as well quite off in the between, because they offer you a very good they offer you a good double precision performance as well as single precision performance. Actually, the AMD Radeon graphics card, they are much better in computing as the NVIDIA. Only the newest NVIDIA, it's really good. But these are very good as well for gaming, for computations, and they can do a very nice job as well. The problem with the AMD graphics card for FEM software is that most of the FEM software, like ANSYS and like ANSYS, for example, is not compatible and is not certified for AMD graphics cards. But if you use Abacus, or if you use Abacus accepts perfectly OpenCL, because NVIDIA graphics cards are based in CUDA, and these are based in OpenCL. And for example, the Dassault System and Abacus, they support 100% the OpenCL and OpenGL modus in order to get computation done. So that is for FEM software. And now let's go for machine learning and deep learning software. So for machine learning and deep learning software, in short words, it's about the faster you are, the better, no? And usually machine learning and deep learning is based in single precision performance, half precision performance, even quarters precision performance. And usually, that's why this is very interesting, the newest NVIDIA 30 series, they do an amazing job in single precision performance, in half precision performance, like really amazing. There is no comparisons with these models. And and this is like, that's really it. If you really want to do, of course you can use the Quadros, you can use as well the Pascal series of Quadros, for example the P5000, the P6000, the P4000s. You can as well use the Maxwell graphics card, the M6000, the M5000 as well. There are as well Quadros for NVIDIA Quadros for deep learning, which is the Quadro GB100 from the Volta series, and which has HBME memory, and those are very good as well. Or you can use as well the Titan. I don't know if you remember the Titan B, the Titan Volta series. Those were cards made for deep learning in those days, already introducing tensor cores, and as well the Quadro G Volta GB100, as well the Tesla P100. Those were made made with really high single performance computation in order to accelerate deep learning and machine learning processes. So if you are a student, or if you're an engineer, if you're a researcher, and if you want to increase the performance and decrease, for example, training times or image processing in real time, those are things that GPUs with a high level of single precision and half precision compute performance can really help you to accelerate those processes. That's really simple. It's not simple, but that's like really summarized. The faster the graphics card are, the better. And if you are looking for machine learning and deep learning, single precision performance, half precision performance, as high as you can get those numbers, the better it is going to help you. I tried personally training models, real-time object recognitions, for example, models, and yeah, I can really tell you that there is no comparison in between these cards and all these graphics cards. The RTX 30 series with increased performance, they are just amazing. And usually for deep learning and machine learning, it does not matter which model of graphics card are you getting, because usually if you are already in those topics, you know your ways in programming, I would say. And maybe you are not an expert in hardware and graphics cards, but you know your ways in programming. And usually when you work with those topics, you usually select the device in which you want to compute and process the information. And it really makes no difference if you are using a gaming graphics card and if you are using a computing card. You just select the device, you select that the information is going to be there, processing there, and then the graphics card is going to do the job as well. So it really does not matter. It depends pure in numbers. Deep learning and machine learning depends pure in computational performance numbers of your graphics cards. Makes no difference if you are using a Tesla, if you are using a Quadro, if you are using an NVIDIA GeForce, if you are using an AMD Radeon, or if you are using an Fire Pro or a Radeon Pro. The best performance in numbers, single precision and half precision, is going to be the fastest to accelerate your deep learning and machine learning processes. That's quite easy to explain, at least something is easy to explain, no? So now, just to conclude, I'm going to give you like my personal setup. As I said, I spent years looking for this. And you are going to say, Jorge, but it's very easy. Yeah, but it's not about spending money and get something new. It's about to know why you are buying this, or why do you need this. And my computer, as I already told in one video, my personal computer is the HP C840 workstation series. My workstation, my main workstation is the HP C840 with 44 cores, 88 threads. One of the amazing things of this computer is that it has 3 PCI Express by 16 slots, generation 3, which allows me to use up to 3 graphics cards, double slot, in the same computer. And you say, Jorge, no one use more than 1 graphics card nowadays. Of course we use. You just need to have an application for those extra graphic cards. So my configuration, I believe me, I spend years, and I am a fan of graphics cards. I really love graphics cards. My configuration is one NVIDIA RTX 3070, the NVIDIA Quadro K6000 in the middle, and another NVIDIA RTX 3070. I have two NVIDIA RTX 3070s, and that's my configuration now. My actual configuration now is two RTX 3070 and the NVIDIA Quadro in the middle. And now NVIDIA gives you the option of changing drivers depending if you want to use the professional drivers or not, the creator drivers, and if you want to use the gaming drivers. So that's my setup now, and my monitor supports different connections at the same time, and I only change the source. And if I want, for example, I play a lot of games, as I said. If I play, I usually have the gaming drivers, and I usually have the DisplayPort. I usually use the DisplayPort of my NVIDIA RTX 3070. They are not in SLI or something. They are just there. There is no SLI anymore, actually. And so yeah, I usually have the DisplayPort. I mean, I have the NVIDIA Quadro DisplayPort to one of the DisplayPorts of my monitor, and I have one of the RTX 3070 connected as well to the monitor. Usually every day I have the RTX 3070 input of my monitor. But when I know, okay, Jorge, now this weekend you are going to work very intensive in research. You are going to write a paper, or you are going to try to do some modeling, you are going to do some simulations. I just change the input to my Quadro K6000, and I change the drivers to the Quadro K6000 drivers, which take me like 2-3 minutes. And then now the main driver is going to be the Quadro K6000, and the RTX 3070 are going to be there just for computational purposes, and the Quadro K6000 as well. So when I enable this, then SolidWorks is going to automatically knows that now I'm using a Quadro graphics card. Every software that I have, they will know that I am using an NVIDIA Quadro graphics card, and it's going to work amazing. And for example, if I do video editing, I change at the other side, I use my RTX 3070, and I configure DaVinci Resolve to use the RTX 3070s as CUDA and as well for the graphics application accelerator, and I just do not use the NVIDIA Quadro. Maybe it sounds like a work, but if you really know the ways in computer and your software, if you really know your software, then I think that's the best option. But it's not the best option because not everyone has the financial opportunity to have different graphics cards and to change graphics cards. But as I said, I worked a lot, and I work a lot since years, and now I can really afford this. And as I say, when I was younger, I dreamed about having Quadro graphics card. I really dream about having graphics card. I used to have as well Alienwares, a lot of Dell Precisions laptops, and Alienwares Auroras. I really dream about getting better hardware. Now I have hardware, and now I know my software as well. So that's how you get really the best performance out of your workstation, if you know your software and if you know your hardware. So that's my main tip for all of you watching these videos. And maybe they are long videos, but they really are my experience. And I want to do this now because now I have the opportunity to show you what I have and what I use. And for example, as I say, I use SolidWorks, I use CATIA, I use for example, robotic simulations. Maybe you can see here as well. I do robotic simulations a little bit. These are very small simulations, and all these things. For example, I have Inventor here as well. I use robots with Inventor. I have as well this fluid simulation that you can see in my latest video, and all this demands a lot of power. I have Abacus here as well, simulations. I use SolidWorks as well. I have CATIA as well, and all these things are things that I love to do, and now I have the opportunity to share with you what I use. And yeah, I hope you like this video. And just to summarize, if you are using only 3D modeling software, CAD software, if you can go with the NVIDIA Quadro graphics card, and if you are a gaming mix of CAD modeling and gaming, go for a GeForce graphics cards. If you are doing FEM simulations, go for Quadro graphics cards, definitely for Quadro graphics card with a high number of double precision computation, or Teslas. And if you are doing machine learning and deep learning, go with, I can really tell you, go with graphics cards or the Tesla's cards that have a very high number of single precision and half precision computing performance. So thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you like it. And if you have any questions about engineering software, MATLAB, LabVIEW, Python parallel programming, CUDA programming, any software that you can imagine in engineering simulation, PTC Creo, I probably have experience already on this. Ask me, and if you have any software that you want to know if it is compatible with your graphics card, ask me and I will do my best to answer you. So thank you very much for watching and see you the next time.